Imagine a man so rich, so brilliant, and so successful that he throws $1,000 gold coins into the Pacific Ocean just to watch them skip like rocks. He's a tech executive, a genius who helped invent the very Wi-Fi you're using right now. Now imagine another man, a janitor. He spent 25 years turning wrenches and sweeping floors at a gas station. He lived in a small house, drove a beat-up truck, and wore old clothes. When both men died, the world got a shock. The tech genius? He was completely broke. His mansions foreclosed, his legacy vanished. But the janitor? He left behind $8 million. How? He didn't win the lottery. He didn't have a Harvard degree. He just understood something most of us miss. Doing well with money has almost nothing to do with how smart you are and everything to do with how you behave. Most people think money is a math problem. They think if they just find the right spreadsheet or the perfect stock tip, they'll be set. But the truth is, financial decisions aren't made in calculators. They're made at dinner tables, fueled by ego, pride, fear, and your own personal history. Today, we're going to look into the mirror and uncover the hidden psychological traps that are keeping you from true wealth. Act 1. The Financial D. First, we have to address a hard truth. No one is crazy. Think about it. Your relationship with money is like your physical DNA. If you were born in 1970, the stock market went up 10 times while you were in your 20s. You probably think investing is easy, but if you were born in 1950, that same market went nowhere for decades. You might think the stock market is a scam. We all carry emotional scars from our past. If you saw your parents struggle to pay bills, you might be overly cautious. If you saw them buy every new gadget, you might feel a social pressure to keep up. We call this recency bias. We take our tiny sliver of experience and assume it's how the whole world works. When you see someone buy a lottery ticket, you might think they're stupid. But for someone living paycheck to paycheck with no path to a promotion, that ticket is the only way they can buy into the dream that the rest of us already live. Every financial decision you make makes sense to you in the moment because it aligns with your unique story. So stop judging others, and more importantly, stop judging yourself. You're not crazy. You're just operating on a different map. Act 2. The Two Siblings. Luck and Risk. We love to believe that if we just grind hard enough, success is guaranteed. But there are two invisible forces at play that we hate to talk about. Luck and risk. Take Bill Gates. In 1968, there were 300 million high school-aged kids in the world. Out of those 300 million, only about 300 went to a school called Lakeside in Seattle, the only school in the world with a computer advanced enough for students to use. Bill Gates had a 1 in a million lucky break. He admits it himself. If there had been no Lakeside, there would have been no Microsoft. But Gates had a best friend at Lakeside, Kent Evans. He was just as smart, just as visionary. Kent should have been a co-founder. But before graduation, Kent died in a mountaineering accident. The odds of a high schooler dying on a mountain? Also about 1 in a million. Luck and risk are siblings. They are the same force, just moving in opposite directions. When things go right, don't assume you're a genius. When things go wrong, don't assume you're a failure. Most overnight success stories are a mix of effort and a massive tailwind of luck you can't replicate. The lesson? Be humble when you win and forgiving when you lose. Act 3. The Quiet Explosion. If Elle asked you who the greatest investor of all time is, you'd probably say Warren Buffett. And you'd be right. He's worth over $84 billion, but here is the fact that will melt your brain. $81.5 billion of that wealth came after his 65th birthday. Buffett's skill is investing, but his secret is time. He started when he was 10 years old. If he had started at 30 and retired at 60 like a normal person, he'd be worth about $11.9 million, minus 99.9% less than he is today. Compounding is like a tree. In the first few years, nothing happens. In 10 years, it looks solid. In 50 years, it's unshakable. The problem? We are impatient. We want the overnight miracle, but money is an incremental gain that goes unnoticed for years. You don't need to be a genius. You just need to be unwipe-outable. You need to stay in the game long enough for the math to do the heavy lifting. Act 4. The Ferrari Paradox. Let's talk about status. We've all seen that guy. He pulls up in a brand new Ferrari wearing a $10,000 watch. What's your first thought? Wow, that guy is cool. But here's the paradox. You're not actually looking at the driver. You're imagining yourself in that car thinking people would think you are cool. The driver is invisible. This is the man in the car paradox. No one is as impressed with your stuff as you are. We spend money we don't have to impress people we don't even like. Even worse, most people confuse rich with wealthy. Being rich is your current income. It's the car, the house, the flash. It's loud. Being wealthy is what you don't see. It's the money you didn't spend. It's the investments growing quietly in the background. Wealth is the gap between your ego and your income. Every dollar you spend to look successful is a dollar that can't buy you freedom later. Act 5. The price of admission. Everything in life has a price, but in the world of money, the price tag is often invisible. If you want a new watch, you can pay for it, or you can steal it. Most of us wouldn't steal it because the fine is too high. But when it comes to investing, people try to steal returns all the time. They try to time the market, jumping in and out to avoid the pain of a crash. Here's the mindset shift. Market volatility is not a fast fine for doing something wrong. It is a fee, an admission price for the right to get long-term returns. If you can't stomach seeing your net worth drop by 20% in a week, you haven't paid the price of admission. Successful investing requires you to accept fear, doubt, and uncertainty as part of the deal. You aren't a spreadsheet, you're a human. Don't aim to be coldly rational, aim to be mostly reasonable. A rational person might keep zero cash because it doesn't earn interest. A reasonable person keeps 20% in cash so they can sleep at night when the world is on fire. The best plan isn't the one with the highest returns on paper. It's the one you can actually stick with when things go wrong. Act 6. The tail events. Did you know that out of the hundreds of stocks Warren Buffett has owned, only 10 of them made the majority of his money? This is the power of tail events. A tiny number of extreme events drive the majority of outcomes. Amazon has tried hundreds of products. Most failed. Remember the Fire phone? But Amazon Web Services and Prime were tail events that paid for every other mistake. Venture capitalists expect 90% of their startups to fail. They just need one Picasso to make the entire fund a success. Most of your ideas will fail. Most of your investments will be mediocre, and that's okay. You can be wrong half the time and still make a fortune if you stay in the game long enough to hit a tail event. The danger is greed. There are people who have never work again, money hundreds of millions, who risk it all for just a little bit more. They risk what they need for what they don't need, and that is foolish. The hardest financial skill is getting the goalpost to stop moving. You have to define what is enough. Act 7. The ultimate dividend. So what is the point of all this? Is it just to have a bigger number in a bank account? The highest dividend money pays is control over your time. Being able to wake up and say, I can do whatever I want today, is the ultimate form of wealth. Research shows that having a sense of control is the #1 predictor of happiness, more than your salary, your house size, or your prestige. Money shouldn't buy you stuff. It should buy you options. Options to walk away from a toxic job, options to wait for the right opportunity, options to be there for your family when they need you. True wealth is the ability to ignore the financial tigers that the news wants you to be afraid of. It's the peace of mind that comes from knowing you've built a margin of safety for a world that is fundamentally unpredictable. Conclusion. Remember Ronald Read, the janitor? He didn't have a secret strategy. He wasn't a genius. He was just a man who mastered his own behavior. The world will try to sell you pessimism because it sounds smarter than optimism. It will try to sell you status because it's loud. It will try to make you panic because fear gets clicks. Don't listen to the noise. 1. Acknowledge your DNA. Your past shaped you, but it doesn't have to define your future. 2. Respect luck and risk. Stay humble. 3. Give it time. Let compounding be your superpower. 4. Save for freedom, not for stuff. 5. Find your enough. Financial success isn't a hard science, it's a soft skill, and the good news is you can start mastering it today. If this video changed the way you think about your bank account, hit that subscribe button, and tell me in the comments, what does enough look like for you?